Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about some possible surprise cuts for the Washington football team heading into the 2021 NFL season, and at the end of the video I'll talk about some possible trades for the Washington football team as well. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. So let's get right into the video. Also guys, please go ahead and follow me on Twitter. My handle is right here. It would be greatly appreciated. So let's get started. So it seems like every offseason there are some surprise cuts, especially for the Washington football team. And Ron Rivera has had a couple. Last season it was Adrian Peterson, who we thought would be, an impact player for us, and he got cut during the offseason. So far this offseason, I would say Morgan Moses was definitely another surprise cut. So we'll see if there are, some others, but I have about like 5 candidates for surprise cuts that I think the Washington football team could make. And disclaimer, it's a surprise cut for a reason. So it doesn't mean that I think they will get cut. It's a surprise cut for a reason. So let's get started. And the first one is Peyton Barber. And like I said, still think he has a good shot of making the roster, but I think his skill set, I think Gibson can do a lot of the things that Barber does. Barber was amazing last season in the short yardage situations, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. He got almost every single one last year, was good at the goal line as well. But I felt like Gibson was amazing at the goal line, better than Barber was, and he was solid as well on 3rd and 4th and 1. So I think they are going to keep, obviously, Gibson and McKissick, and if they want to keep 3 running backs, and Patterson is looking, definitely better than Peyton Barber, and they don't think they can stash Patterson away on the practice squad, then maybe they possibly keep Patterson over Barber. Barber did lose some weight, which could help him a little bit. We will see. Last year he had, 94 carries for 258 yards, average 2.7 yards per carry. But again, he was used a lot of times on 3rd and 4th and 1. And also had 4 touchdowns, so he definitely could make this roster. But if we see, Lamar Miller or Jarrett Patterson emerge this offseason, and if they look really good, I would not be surprised if Barber does get cut. But he was definitely an impact player for us last season. So next guy on this list, and again, surprise. I have to say this before everyone, but it's a surprise cut for a reason, and this is AGG. If he, last season definitely had a disappointing offseason, or disappointing season, only had 1 catch for 3 yards in his rookie year, but of course, he just really unfortunate offseason for him. No minicamp, no OTAs, got hurt like the first or second practice of training camp, didn't have any training camp, got hurt week 3 of the regular season, didn't get back until week 16. So he pretty much had a redshirt rookie year. And I do think I kind of like Harmon and AGG equally, but in terms of their potential. But I think the coaching staff will, probably have a little bit more bias towards AGG because they did draft him, or at least Ron Rivera did draft him in 2020, a 4th round pick under him, and Kelvin Harmon was a 6th round pick from the previous regime. But here's the thing, so I do think AGG, when it comes down to it, will edge out Harmon. But if he's looking like he was looking at the start of last season, during last offseason, and Harmon is continuing to get better and better, I would not be surprised to see, Harmon edge out AGG, or even another receiver that we're not talking about, maybe Dax Milne, even though he's more of a slot guy. He could also, edge out AGG. AGG can't, it's just because he's a 4th round pick last year and he didn't really have a rookie year, that doesn't guarantee he's making the roster. He has to show that he's improved and he's been working a lot this offseason if he wants to make this team. He does have a lot of potential. He's got that good body, 6'4", 223 pounds, but he's got to show some improvement this offseason if he wants to make this team. The next guy, this is probably the biggest surprise cut I have on here, and it's DeShazier Everett. And there's a big, caveat. It's the only way I see DeShazier Everett getting cut this offseason is if Derek Forrest is looking super, super good. And here's why. DeShazier Everett, great special teams player for the Washington football team, and can play free safety and strong safety for them. Played free safety last year early on, played free safety when they benched Troy Apke, and played pretty good before he got injured. But if Derek Forrest can also play great special teams and can play both safety positions. So if he's looking good and ahead of schedule, then I could see them cutting DeShazier Everett for Derek Forrest, just because they are very similar players. But Jack Del Rio did say that Derek Forrest is going to start on special teams and work his way up from there. So if he starts off on special teams and really doesn't go much further than that early on in the off season, then I definitely think DeShazier Everett will make the team and possibly could even start. I mean, that's the crazy thing about the safety position. I mean, there's a bunch of guys competing for that free safety spot. Bobby McCain, DeShazier Everett, Jeremy Reeves, and more. Like, even Derek Forrest you can throw in there, and I'm probably forgetting someone else, but that safety position is very, very crowded. So could be DeShazier Everett, but there's going to be one guy that gets cut here that's going to surprise a lot of people. And just something to keep in mind, last year at this time, if I would have said Adrian Peterson's going to get cut, everyone would just go crazy on me. So I do think there's going to be one surprise cut, and if Derek Forrest is looking really, really good, would not be surprised if that surprise cut is DeShazier Everett or maybe another safety. I mean, none of them have big contracts. I mean, even Bobby McCain, he's signed for like 1.5 mil. So would not be surprised if any of these safeties really got cut. Of course, besides Cameron Curl. Next guy, a little bit of a surprise, Keith Ismail. And the only reason here is because if you look at our depth at the guard position, and he's a guard/center, it is very deep, and usually teams keep 9 to 10 offensive linemen, and obviously we're going to keep Leno, Schweitzer, Roulier, Brandon Sheriff, Cornelius Lucas. Those 5 right there are locks right there. You're going to have Eric Flowers, who's going to make the roster. You're going to have Sam Cosmi making the roster. Sadiq Charles is going to make the roster. And after that, it's really tough to see who makes it. Tyler Larson could edge out Keith Ismail because they did sign him this offseason. He started games for Ron Rivera in Carolina, can play guard or center, similar to Keith Ismail. But last year, Keith Ismail really did not do much. Of course, he was a rookie, 5th round pick, but he didn't get any playing time on offense, I believe. Do think he did get some playing time on special teams, but Tyler Larson definitely could edge out Keith Ismail for that last offensive lineman spot. If they keep 10 offensive linemen, though, I do think Ismail has a good chance to make this roster. But we are deep at that guard position, and it could end up hurting Ismail, who is a guard/center. So, some possible trades of players. We have 3 starting caliber guards at left guard in Wes Schweitzer, Eric Flowers, and even Sadiq Charles. So if they're all looking good, they could end up trading one of them for a late round pick. But who knows? We'll see with that. We'll see about that when it comes later in the off season. Sorry about that. And then one guy that could get traded, I don't think it's going to happen, but Landon Collins, if they could somehow unload his contract, that could be a possibility. They cannot cut him though. Well, they can, but it would be a huge cap casualty. They would maybe save like $200K, and at that point it really doesn't help them. If they were to trade him though, that would be much better. What I do think is a possibility is Landon Collins starting the year on the PUP list, or IR would be hard because if he starts the year on IR, that means he's done for the year. But definitely PUP list is a possibility. So let me know down below in the comments, what are some surprise cuts that you guys see? I've seen Adam Humphries as a possibility. I've seen some other guys as well. Let me know about these 5 that I just talked about in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys for watching, and peace.